Now, even though we are in February, I'm going to tell you now, it's not too late to restart your year. Hello everybody and welcome to the very first episode of the Behind HB podcast. I am your host, Brooke, also known as Honeybrook, and if you don't recognize me, which there is a very good chance that you don't, or if you're listening and you have no idea what I look like, hi, hello, I am a 19-year-old from California and I share my life on the internet. I'm a lifestyle vlogger and I love a lot of different things, so if any of that sounds appealing to you, my channel might be for you, but that really tells you nothing. And that honestly has nothing to do with what this podcast is about. So my life is very crazy and I feel like I'm always doing a bunch of things. I have so many different projects and side hustles and whatever, right? Like I'm a writer, I've written 3 books, they're all fiction, and I have this YouTube channel, and I tend to be a full-time content creator, even though like it's mostly just for fun. I have a day job, I'm a full-time student at college, so I'm doing a lot of different things all the time, and I thought what better thing to add to that list, to my influencer resume, than to start a podcast on basically bettering yourself. One of the things I preach about all the time is romanticizing your life, and later down the line that is going to be its own podcast episode, but I feel like it would only be right to start this podcast journey off with how to make 2024 your best year, because I feel like it's still early enough to talk about that, but it's also like it has a different approach to it, and we're gonna get into that. But a little about me, if you've never seen me before. I know I just explained a little bit about this, but the reason I want to have this podcast is because I feel like I'm a YouTuber, right? Like, I've been on the internet forever. I've had so many different failed attempts at YouTube channels, and now I feel like I finally have found something that works for me, and that's vlogging, and now hopefully podcasting. But one of the things that I do on my channel a lot is I'll like go to Starbucks or Dutch Bros or whatever, and I'll get a drink, and then I'll sit in my car and talk for 10 or so minutes just about life, about literally anything. And another thing about me is I like to convince myself that I love public speaking, even though when it comes down to it, I'm not the best at it. So I feel like with having a podcast, I want to challenge myself to talk for 15 minutes with as few edits as possible, and just kind of talk consistently and actually not ramble, and just like, I want to better my public speaking basically. And I feel like, yes, this isn't in front of an audience and you may not even be seeing me face to face right now, but at the end of the day, somebody's going to be listening, and I want it to be where if this was a real conversation where I was talking to somebody in person, I wouldn't be like stuttering, because I tend to do that a lot. So at the end of the day, I just want to better my public speaking with also getting across a message that I truly believe in. And so in this podcast, it's going to be around 15 minutes every week, and then there's going to be 7 episodes in one season. So I welcome you to the first season of the Behind HB podcast. Now, in today's episode, I said in the very beginning that it's going to be rebuilding your 2024 if it hasn't got off to the start that you wanted to. And honestly, the same thing kind of happened to me, to where I had all these goals in mind, and I feel like they're slowly starting to come true, but it's kind of taking longer than expected. So I feel like if that has happened to anybody else so far, we are in February right now. Well, by the time you're watching this, it's in February, and I feel like it's still early enough to where we can go back and rebuild our year, set new goals if we have to, or kind of just work on the ones we already have. So without further ado, I think we should get started with the 5 easy steps on how you are going to make 2024 your best year yet. So the first thing, of course, it would only be right to start off with making a vision board, of course. Now, if you're watching this on the visual, you can kind of see what this looks like, but if you're listening, I'm just going to explain to you some of the things that are on here. So on my vision board, I have a large variety of things. There's a lot of like YouTube inspired things on here. Obviously, I have like a podcast right here because I knew that in 2024 I wanted to do this because it seemed so fun. It would kind of push me out of my comfort zone, and I really just wanted to do it. I had my heart set on this. Like, I went out and bought a microphone for this. Like, I was so set. So I put that on here. There's just also like content things on here. Clean eating, exercise. I really want to get more into that. So far, I've been actually pretty good. Not the exercising part, but trying to be better about watching what I eat and stuff. So far, the vision board is helping. And then I just have some travel stuff on here too. Some like friendship right here. Oh, I'm not pointing to it right there. And just some quotes and affirmations and stuff that I feel like I really resonate by and that help me. So if you're listening, I hope that kind of described it a little bit. But I truly think that vision boards help so much. And really, if you don't believe in manifestation, or if you think that it's just not your thing, right? At the end of the day, visualization is key. Even if you don't even realize it, if you visualize it's already yours, or if you have like a vision board, which is like basically the path to your success, right? You are seeing what those things could look like, and at the end of the day, you're visualizing it happens, it actually happens. So that is one thing to keep in mind, and that's one of the most important things with the vision board, is that you're seeing what you want your end goals to look like, and also believing that it's already yours is one of the key things to having a great year. And I think now that we are in the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year, what do you want your December to look like, and how are you going to work towards those goals to be met by the end of the year? Moving on to step number 2, I think one of the things that kind of goes along with the vision board is keeping track of your progress and writing down your results, because you would be surprised how many things you forget by the end of the year. Like right now, it is very early in the year. I bet by the end of the year, I'm going to forget that I probably even did a podcast. And then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that was super fun. Or some other things like, oh, I forgot I went to this place or this. Document your journey, or at least write things down. Journaling is so important because you, like, even if it's not to release emotions or whatever, writing down your experiences, taking photos, it comes in handy so much, and you can see the progress of how far you came from where you first started. And I think that is so important, and that's just something that, like, we say we want to do, but we don't actually do it, and then we're like, oh, I probably should have took a before picture or whatever. So that was one of the things I wanted to touch on, because keeping track of your progress is so important, and I tend to lack on that, and I rely too much on the YouTube channel and documenting my life to kind of look back on certain things when I should be writing things down. So hopefully this year I could get better at that, and I think that is something that you should do too. I know you're gonna forget, but I mean, the results are what matter, right? So these next 2 things, 3 and 4, they kind of go hand in hand with each other. I mean, at least my definition of these 2 things, but number 3 is appreciating the simple things, and then number 4 is romanticizing your life. So I'm going to talk about 3 first, and then we'll transition into 4. So appreciating the simple things, honestly, is the key to happiness. I feel like that has been something that I have found a lot of fulfillment in, and just appreciating the simple things, to where it's like, okay, yeah, like maybe I didn't do this, but I was able to do this, and I was able to get something done. You know what I'm saying? When you start appreciating the simple things, you will be surprised on how, like, positive you become in your life. And that's another thing too, is just always trying to have a positive attitude. If I'm in a bad mood, I tell myself, like, okay, I have 1 minute of complaining and then I'm done, because honestly, complaining does nothing. Let's all agree, right? I know it's going to be hard to give it up, but think of it this way. You don't like those people who are constantly complaining, right? So why do you want to be that person? Think of yourself in the third point of view, right? Like, do you want to be looked at as that person who's constantly complaining about their situation? No, right? So I feel like, I really don't know how this connects, but I promise it does. Appreciating the little things helps you stop complaining, and it helps you see the bigger picture at the end of the day. Like, we are living on a floating rock in space, and depending on what you believe in, you only get one life, or you could have multiple lives and you're on your last life on Earth. So how do you want to spend your time doing that? And appreciating the little things is honestly the key to happiness. I'm just going to say it now. But with that, romanticizing your life is kind of going hand in hand in that, because when I think of romanticizing your life, I think of appreciating the little things, finding the little joys in your day that you think are worth it, like what are you going to remember when you fall asleep, or when you're going to sleep, when your head hits the pillow? What are you going to think about? What went good today? What went wrong? How could I have fixed that? What could I have done differently? And I know when you're falling asleep, that's literally the time that everything you've ever done, that one kid that you accidentally tripped in 2nd grade, that memory comes flooding back to you. Yeah, I know. But romanticizing your life is one of the things that just, to me, when I think of romanticizing your life, I think of appreciating the little things and seeing that social media is entirely fake. Now, if that sounds intriguing to you, that episode is coming in a couple of weeks, because, oh my gosh, I could go on and on about romanticizing your life. But for rebuilding your 2024 year, I feel like those are the two things that kind of like anybody can do, and it doesn't take that much skill either, because it's all within you. And if you want to create change, I know you probably hear this everywhere, change comes from within, and really, you are going to be the one to create your new year. And now my 5th and final tip on how to rebuild your 2024 year to make it the best year yet, and that is honestly investing time in yourself. That could be anything. If you're really into reading or meditating, just setting a certain amount of time. It doesn't have to be a lot, just every day or every other day, or whenever you need a break, just to regroup, recollect, and kind of reflect on your situation and just do something that you enjoy. Because I promise you, if you have so many things on your plate, eventually you are going to lose yourself, and we don't want that to happen, right? 2024 is our year. We are in control of our year, and it all starts with investing in ourselves. And I feel like that could be interpreted into so many different things, whether it's that business you want to start, that idea you have, that book you want to write. Invest time in yourself, because I promise it'll pay off. Now, I wanted to end this video with a TikTok that I found that I felt really connected to this situation, because with these podcasts, I try and go on my own advice, and I try not to do much research, but with certain things, I really want to get the most information out possible, and like the most like good advice, because I'm not qualified to be giving advice. If you want to listen to me, that's fine, but I'm just sharing from my own kind of personal experiences and things that I do, because I like to practice what I preach. And sometimes I feel like these things really do help me, and I feel like maybe somebody else can benefit for it. So that is kind of the whole reason why I'm doing this. But in this case, I felt like rebranding, making 2024 your year is like a huge thing, right? And besides the whole vision board thing, I found this video and I feel like it really helps. So I'm going to put it in right now, and then we'll kind of reflect on the end.
That you do not get rich or you do not become successful on accident. I mean, these people were literally talking to me about Q2. The whole time I'm thinking like I'm planning for February, doing a good job. No, they're in Q2, you guys. They're already 3 months ahead of us. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down your categories of improvement. Then you're going to put your goal for each category. And then of course you put your why. Now this is the part that everybody knows how to do. Get into the actual mind fuck here. So if I asked you how many days are in a year, what would you say? 365, right? No, there are 90 days in a year. A lot of successful people look at quarters of the year as an entire year. So you don't get 365 days to complete something. You only get 90 days. Thinking this way prevents you from resting on your laurels, because obviously 90 days is like a quarter of the time that you would think that you have to. You'll be more likely to stay focused on that goal day to day. You're going to create a chart like this one, and you're going to break the year down in 4 quarters. So you reverse engineer your main task into each quarter of the year. Here's an example. So my goal is to get 150K followers. How am I going to do that? By posting more. How much can I post? At least every other day. Every other day is 182 days. If somebody told me to post 182 days, I would get overwhelmed. But breaking it down by quarter, I only need to post 15 days a month. 15 days a month is super easy to digest. So you're going to do that for all of your big topics. You're going to work your way back. For the next 90 days, you only have to really focus on like 6 small tasks. And at the end of the actual year, you'll have completed so much more. Here's where you really lock it in. This is for the people who are literally going to change your life next year. You need to provide yourself with some type of visual gratification. Doing a task without any gratification reduces your chances of doing the task again. This is where your little bingo cards come into play. So I suggest you create a bingo card for every single month. Every single month, figure out how many times you can get bingo. And every single time you X something off, you're going to get that boost of serotonin. If you don't like that way, you can do it the way I do it. I just create a spreadsheet, all the things I need to go over that month, and I tick it off. And at the end of the spreadsheet, there is a percentage that tells me how far I am to 100% of doing every single thing. So that, my friend, is exactly how you're going to be successful in 2024.
So with that video, I feel like everything she said kind of like is what I was trying to get at in this video. But like I said, I'm practicing public speaking, so hopefully as we go through more in this season, I get better of trying to actually explain what I'm trying to say. But everything she was saying in there, I feel like is totally true, totally like I agree with it. And I feel like a lot of things she said I never really thought about, like taking 90 days, like 90 days is a whole year instead of 365 days. And hearing that message and reflecting back on what I'm currently working on right now, that makes so much sense. And timelines, time management, deadlines, they turn out to be so important, more than you think. So anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Being honest, this is so fun. I can't wait to continue doing this throughout the next couple of months. Every week for the next 7 weeks, there's going to be a new podcast on Fridays. So I look forward to having you if you decide to return. But if this is your first time and this isn't for you, that is totally okay. I still appreciate you being here and checking me out. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, I would appreciate it so much if you gave it a like and subscribed, and go show my main channel some love at Honeybrook. And again, all the links will be in the description. And yeah, that's all I really have to say for now. Until next week, guys, thank you guys so much again. And just remember, 2024 is your year, and honestly, it is what you make it, and everything comes from within you. All right, until next time, bye, guys.